In the last great age of the Earth, long before the first human step, the world was alive in ways almost impossible to imagine. Vast forests stretched endlessly beneath glowing skies, their leaves whispering with every passing wind. Rivers moved like silver veins across the land, and the oceans, deep, ancient, and restless, hid creatures beyond sight. This was the age of dinosaurs. Not legends, not myths, but living, breathing rulers of a world still shaping itself. At dawn, the land stirred. Soft mist clung to the ground as the first light touched the treetops. Giant herbivores began their slow journey, moving in herds that shook the earth with every step. Their size was unmatched, their presence undeniable. Gentle giants, you might think, until the ground trembles beneath you. They fed endlessly, stripping forests bare, shaping the very landscape as they moved. Around them, smaller creatures lived quieter lives, quick, alert, always aware that danger was never far away. Because somewhere, something was watching. Predators moved like shadows, silent, calculated. Every step measured, every breath controlled. They did not chase without reason. They waited for weakness, for the moment when survival tipped in their favor. This was not cruelty. This was balance. Above, the skies belonged to ancient flyers. Wings stretched wide as they rode warm currents across endless horizons. They saw everything: the movement of herds, the flicker of life below, the patterns of a world in constant motion. And beneath it all, the oceans. A world untouched by sunlight. Massive shapes moved through the darkness, guided by instinct older than the land itself. Here, there were no forests, no shelter, only open water and the certainty that something larger might always be near. For millions of years, this world endured. Seasons changed, lands shifted. Volcanoes roared, sending fire and ash into the sky. Continents slowly drifted apart, reshaping oceans and climates. And still, life adapted. The dinosaurs thrived. They became the most dominant creatures the Earth had ever known. But even dominance has its limits. One day, like any other, began in silence. The sun rose, the forests breathed. The giants moved once more across familiar paths. Nothing seemed different. But far beyond the sky, something is coming. A fragment of the cosmos, traveling faster than sound, carrying with it a force beyond anything this world had ever faced. It moved unseen, unnoticed, its path already decided. There would be no warning, no escape. Then, a flash, brighter than the sun itself. For a single instant, the world stood still, and then everything changed. The impact shook the planet to its core. The ground cracked and rose in violent waves. Forests were torn apart in seconds, flattened by a force that could not be resisted. Heat surged across the land, a burning wind that ignited everything it touched. The sky turned to fire. Even those far from the impact felt its power. Shockwaves traveled across continents. The air itself became a weapon. Nothing was untouched. And yet, some survived. But survival would not last. Ash and dust climbed high into the atmosphere, spreading across the globe. The sun began to fade, its light blocked by a thick, choking veil. Days grew darker, colder. The forests, the lifeblood of the giants, began to die. Without sunlight, plants withered, Without plants, the herbivores starved, and without them, the predators had nothing left. The balance was breaking. Time passed, but the light did not return. The great herds grew smaller, their movements slowed. Calls that once echoed across the land faded into silence. Predators, once masters of their domain, wandered a dying world, searching, waiting, until there was nothing left to find. In the skies, the winds carried no wings. In the oceans, even the depths began to change. Life was slipping away. Not in a single moment, but in a slow, unstoppable fading. One by one, the giants fell. No final stand, no last battle, just the quiet end of a world that had lasted for over 160 million years. And then, silence. The forests stood still. The winds moved through empty land. The oceans continued their endless rhythm, but something was missing. The rulers of the earth were gone. From their disappearance, a new world would rise. Smaller creatures would take their place. The balance would begin again, different, but familiar. And millions of years later, we would arrive, searching the ground beneath our feet, uncovering fragments of bone, echoes of a time we never knew. A lost world, a forgotten age, the final chapter of the dinosaurs.